Hi, I'm Phil from Driftworks and this is my 992 GT3. Not normally one to be seen on a trailer as it's usually my daily driver, but I'm taking it to FabCo where it's going to stay for a couple of weeks as we're going to create some LongTube headers for it. So what am I up to? Some of you may be asking. You'll have to forgive me, I've got a good dose of the man flu today, but no other opportunity to get the car over to FabCo, so I thought I'd do it today. Yeah, so what am I up to? Why am I messing about with this car? Or why haven't I already messed about with it? Knowing what you know about me, I like modifying cars. The 992 GT3 has been, I've owned it for over a year now. It's been incredible to own. My favourite thing, basically. Out of the box, it is essentially like a modified car. It's like what you do to a slightly more normal car, upgrade stuff to make it more powerful, sound better, faster, better suspension, all of those things, better brakes, all those things that you would do to modify a car, but Porsche did it for you, and they did it better than you. So, yeah, there's not a lot that really ever needs doing to a GT3. I'd say even the sound for me on this car, considering it's got an OPF in the exhaust manifold as well as cats, the sound is pretty phenomenal. I certainly don't want it to be much louder than it is, but I have sort of been obsessing over creating some better manifolds and headers for it. If you look underneath the car, they're well made, but they're not equal length. They're very short runners, primary runners, and obviously with an OPF delete, there's improvements to be made. Like always, I'm not really after much more power. The car is incredibly well balanced power wise for me. So what I'm after, primarily tone, pitch. I think it's lacking a little bit of the GT3 pitch that I've had on some of my other GT3s. The Klein Innovation Inconel exhaust that I've got on my 997 GT3. Definitely has a much better note to it. The only thing about that, because I could have gone for a Klein Innovation exhaust with this, is that it's so loud. And that's the case for a lot of aftermarket exhausts in the GT3 sector, is they are insanely loud. And to me, it's not a balanced volume to power ratio. I'm a firm believer in a car's volume has to be related to how much power it's got. So it's okay for me to have a completely ridiculous, silly exhaust and really loud tone and really loud volume on my Murcielago, because it's 686 horsepower. Same goes for my competition cars and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a big trend in America to spend ridiculous amounts of money on essentially cutting your exhaust off for these GT3 products, and that's just not what I'm about. I'm definitely not about the volume, and I'm definitely not about spending like 18 grand on an exhaust or something like that. It's just insanity. It's just pipes. The GT tax applied to these things. Yeah, coming from where I come from, I'm not playing that game, it's not for me. So yeah, I decided that, having looked through all of the options of headers that you can get for a GT3, I also picked up on tiny little things that I would possibly improve if I was to build those headers, especially having worked with Celeritech recently on the V10 M3 10:1 headers. I've learned a lot, and it hasn't really helped my brain long term, because now I'm even more particular about what I want from an exhaust, and all these tiny little things that Celeritech did to that that make it as perfect as it is. The primary thing being equal length. So I don't think that there is a true equal length header for the GT3 on the market. I've done a lot of research. There's lots that say they're equal length, but to my eyes, I know it's very difficult to measure a tube with your eyes from pictures, but to my eyes they don't look true equal length. So regardless anyway, there's many things that add up to me man-logicking my way through deciding to take my car to Adam at FabCo, who they're a fantastic company. Adam's done, we gave him our GR Yaris when we first got it. He's done 3 different exhausts for that, and he is one of us. He's one of the guys. He loves messing about with cars, and he's game for a challenge, which this is going to be, because it's quite tight, the constraints for this, the manifold for the headers on this car, with the diffuser and everything like that. There are limitations, definitely, but we're going to see how close we can get to my idea of a perfect set of manifolds. So yeah, we'll see you there. So we're here. Hi.
Hi.
The man in charge of making some fancy new things for me.
That's the plan. Making some equal length, long tube with a cat.
Yeah. In a really, really small space.
Yeah, in about that much room probably.
Yeah. We like a challenge though, don't we? Right, we've got a little bit of a challenge. We're going to try and get this on the ramp, on the 2-post without damaging too much stuff, and yeah, we'll have a look, see what we're in for. That was way less drama than we thought it would be. We're expecting it to be a bit of a challenge. It's all good. Diffuser off. There we go. That is what we're looking at on a standard car.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice stuff.
Yeah, they are. They're 2-inch. I was thinking of doing like 1 3/4.
Yeah, because then we've got lots of room for wiggling it about, but my God. Yeah. Yeah. And there's the meat of the subject. This whole section is so massive though, isn't it?
How big are the replacement cats you've got?
Much shorter. I've
Okay.
obviously left them in the front of the car, but
Right.
we'll drop it down in a second and have a look. But, yeah, and then it goes up into here. Very cool design. But I forgot to mention actually, I am not specifically, I forgot to mention specifically, I'm keeping the standard back box. This is just headers that we're doing for now. I'm hoping that it'll be a tiny bit louder, not too much, and just have lots more tone. But yeah, standard back box. It's a mega bit of kit, to be honest with you. That's why I don't want to change it. I think the sound of it is really good. I love the integrated valves and the way that all that works. So yeah, and it obviously flows enough power because we're not really looking for more power. Although I suspect we will gain a bit, especially once it has to have its OPF delete remap. But yeah, those are some posh looking things for an OEM, as you'd probably expect on a GT3 really. So a big part of this project was saving money. Unfortunately, one of the things you can't scrimp on is cats, and these cost an absolute fortune. They are HJS substrates, and yeah, they're nice and short, so hopefully that means increased runner length. That's the idea anyway.
That's the plan. That's not a super tight radius. Actually about bang.
He's broken out the Ice Engine Works kit. And what's that, a 2-inch primary? Is it?
This is 2-inch, yeah, just like what's on the car.
Which is lucky that you've got that, I guess. But I suppose actually 2-inch you do for some, maybe for some other cars on the actual exhaust.
I think the last thing I use this on is a Classic Mini exhaust.
Nice.
Full system.
That's pretty big actually.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I came from Classic Minis, my first car.
Yeah, this would be like, this is like for big power Classic Minis.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. I'm quite jealous that I'm not going to be here for the for the working out. But I know it'll be torturous at times, but I do love a little challenge jigsaw.
But that's the beauty of these.
Yeah.
Is that actually it's not that hard work.
Yeah. It's just swapping, changing, trying something else.
I don't mind
that routing, because just so you've got a rough idea of what my plan is and why I'm here with the header removed, I'm wondering just how far we can go into this section here. As you can see the ports here, I think you'd obviously want it to be angled into the primary, the main big part of the silencer there, but I don't know, you obviously got to get the lambda sensor in there a little bit, but I don't know, just got crazy ideas, sort of slightly challenging ideas, you know, like to make people's life difficult, you know.
It's all fun for me, it's all fun, I like it.
And the idea being that we make these primaries as long as possible. So they will be, I'm sure, looping this way first before coming back into a collector just before this part of the cap, but it's looking quite good. Obviously we've got to bear in mind that the banks are offset, as all engines are, but one of these will be shorter than the other, so we've got to make sure that we have the same runner length on the left and right banks of the engine. But yeah, game, better, worse than you thought?
Actually, it's now that I've seen, obviously this is the easier side, but I think it's not that bad. No, I don't think it's that difficult. Those cats are not that big.
No, they're very small, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we can do something. We can do something cool.
Do something special.
Yeah,
yes, cool. Watch this space then. Yeah, I'll keep you up to date, and I guess well, we'll continue this video here when I come back in a couple of weeks. So Adam got straight to work on the design for the cat and expansion into the silencer, and within a couple of days had a 3D printed version in place that then allowed him to move to the next part, which is the 3-into-1 section of it. He also came up with a design for the head flanges that went from oval to round. We didn't actually end up making these out of billet in the end, as the cost was just too high, and what we ended up with, because of his fabrication skills, are pretty much exactly the same anyway, so yeah, was very happy with that. He got through hundreds of changes with the primaries and routing of it all, using the Ice Engine work blocks. And at the end of each day I'd get a progress report, we'd discuss any changes required, and he'd move on the next day. It was a really enjoyable exercise considering it was all done remotely. I think the whole build will be on the FabCo UK YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to them to see the whole thing. I'm back with a GT3 and an Adam. Hey mate.
Hi.
It's been a couple of days since I was last here.
It's been a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been it's 2 months pretty much, but we've had Christmas in that time as well. But it's been quite a long project. Hasn't been a problem for me at all because I've been doing loads of building work on my house. So I completely lost my garage and had nowhere to park this. Just got a single car garage at home. Getting carried away with the building work, so that was quite useful. But now back here, and yeah, the headers, manifolds are done. They look absolutely superb, so let's just have a quick look first. So, how much did you underestimate the scale of this job?
I knew it was going to be a tough one, But obviously the excitement gets you through the first few stages. After that, it obviously becomes, the challenge really starts to hit home. And because they were all so long, the Ice Engine Works blocks are really good in that they do have like witnessing marks on the outside for marking the compound rotations and stuff. But because there were so many blocks, it would have been really hard to kind of mock it up on one side, disassemble all the blocks, assemble it on the other side, record all of that information.
Yeah.
Because you do so much like to in and fro in.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And there's a hell of a lot of like the desire to make it perfect, but also knowing that it wouldn't matter how many times you do it, it's never going to be perfect.
And I know all about doing exhausts multiple times, as does my buddy Craig and many other people that have dealt with me over the years. I think on my 86 drift car, I think we're now 8 or 9 revisions into the exhaust. On the E30 M3, I think even that one, I'm probably 4 or 5 into it. So yeah, it's one of those things, you don't know how to do something perfectly until you've done it 3 or 4, 5, 6 times, and even then there's still stuff you can learn along the way. So this, as let's just call it a first attempt at a 992 GT3 set of headers that nobody else has done anything like at all in the world ever, I think you absolutely smashed it, mate.
I'm really happy with it. Obviously it's nice to be complimented on it, but I kind of know that I've done a pretty good job myself.
That's a great thing, mate. You can acknowledge that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's not like in a big-headed.
No, just show the pride that you've taken in this. I know.
The thing is, like, one of the complications with the 992 is those the way the back box flanges work.
Yeah.
Even compared to like the 991. There's more space on that, and that's probably why there are kind of off-the-shelf options for 991 LongTube headers and equal length, and there aren't for 992.
But are there any even 991s that you think are this long?
Definitely not as long as it. Because the thing is, how long is long?
Yeah. long is long.
Yeah, these are really long. Again, in hindsight, probably wouldn't have made them that much. I mean, a couple of inches makes a big difference.
If we'd have started on this side, it would have been, we're talking, it's a 30-inch runners on this. If we'd have started on this side, it probably would have been a 27 or 28-inch primaries on it. It would have made all of the difference to that being easier.
Yeah.
And probably uniform left and right, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I would say so. Again, I kind of really wanted the symmetry, which we were almost there on, really. But
yeah, so essentially these two runners, both sides, are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Because obviously you've got offset banks, so it can't be exactly the same anyway. But these two runners are essentially the same. This one dips down quite low. It's not a problem with ground clearance on this side. But because when we came to do this bank later, secondary, this one with this is the oil pump. Is it the dry sump?
Yeah, and because this primary hangs a little lower. Yeah. So because this one is a little lower. Yeah. It doesn't allow me to drop this primary underneath. Yeah. Underneath it, like on this side, because there's a cutout in the diffuser here. Yeah. So
this looks low, but actually it's not really any lower than the standard one, is it?
It actually goes out the same cutout the stock one does. Yeah. Of course, the stock one's got a bit more leeway in it because that's what Porsche would do. Yeah. But, again, there's only so much. There's only so much room you can save yourself on a thing like this.
Yeah, but this side you had to do that runner in the way that when I originally spoke to you about my ideas, my potential concept for this LongTube header, it was to send this primary back towards this suspension area here, and that's exactly what you've ended up doing there. Quite a complicated thing again because of everything moving in that area.
Yeah, I think it was something that was like I did see as a bit of a compromise. Yeah. Purely because, drive shaft, bushings, suspension goes up and down. Yeah. You've got like brake sensors, brake hoses, all things that you don't really want to heat affect if you can help it, I guess. Yeah. But again, kept it as tight to all the stuff. It kept it as far away from all of the stuff that you'd want to keep it away from as really you could possibly could.
Yeah, to the damper, which is a problem to heat up. There's loads of clearance there. There's a sensor here, which is ride height sensor, or for headlight aim, stuff like that. I think that's going to need a little bit of heat shielding here, but we might be Going for Zerkatech on this, Zerkatech ceramic coating on it. As always, seems a bit of a shame considering how beautiful these are and the work that you've done to kind of hide it with a ceramic coating, but the work, well, it works basically.
It'll be brown in a few weeks.
That's the thing, particularly on 911s, anything flat six where you've got everything underneath the car, even with the diffuser, this gets really filthy, like in no time at all, especially at this time of year. So yeah, probably will be reducing temperatures with the Zerkatech, which is like 30%ish. That'll bring them down. Made a massive difference on my Lamborghini. And just for reference, here's the originals, which they're wrapped up so a bit hard to see, but yeah, unequal length. Still 2-inch primaries, but they're these ones are about 10-inch long, and I think the one that looks longer there is about 11 or 12-inch long there. So yeah, very different to what we've got on the car, that's for sure. So yeah, there it is, my slightly weird idea to create super long headers, equal length headers with a standard back box, which is still winding people. What are you doing that for? Why are you doing it with standard back box?
You're going to lose power.
Yeah, oh yes. Oh, yeah. Oh man, the internet's already been at us, hasn't it, with the old Instagram posts. Yeah. I think I was quite clear from the outset that I don't really care about power. Power is a secondary thing. If it does or doesn't make any power, that doesn't really matter to me. It's about seeing whether we can make it sound even better. Super awesome sounding car to start off with, so it's a bit of a reach as to whether it's going to make any difference or not, but yeah, there's only one way to find out, and that's to turn it on and see what it sounds like. So shall we give it a go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wicked.
Let's get a lift down.
You've done that before.
Yeah. Done it a few times.
It actually hooks in at the back.
Yeah, it actually hooks in. Now I can just hold it with my head and then put one of these back bolts in, and there you go. She's good to hang.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that gives you a fair idea about whether anything hangs too low or not, really, doesn't it? It's yeah, the diffuser does take up quite a bit of the ground clearance here.
And of course, it's already a relatively low car.
Yeah. Yeah, from stock, and mine's like 10-15 mil lower than stock. I know one thing that people are going to ask is why no spring tabs?
Really, because it's fixed both ends. There's no need to try and hold the primaries together anyway. Really, they're not going to go anywhere. And if they're going to go anywhere as they heat up, they're actually going to drive themselves into that collector anyway.
There is literally no way that can pull apart or anything fall off. Certainly, well, it just won't move at all. Like you say, it wants to drive together. It'll have the flexibility for everything to grow and expand and cool down as needed, but yeah, it cannot fall off, which is why no springs.
Double slips anyway, so it's going to be super gas tight.
Oh, is it double slip on the inside?
Yeah. So
oh, you posh bastard.
Yeah. So the primary actually goes into the collector, and then there's another slip joint on the outside of the primary, which covers the outside. Of the
that's fancy. So, is that part of the reason why it's quite a challenge to get together, because they're quite tight, aren't they? Usually double slip.
Well, actually, they are sized quite nicely.
Yeah.
It's just that, again, because the way a double slip joint works is that because you've kind of sandwiched the tube on the inside and on the outside, you more or less get no horizontal movement in it.
Right. So that really helps with the fabrication and putting it all together as well. So there's no different point it can be.
I'm working to the same fixed point every time. That's why I've got these little permanent witness marks on it.
Yeah.
Again, you can just centre punch them so you...
Oh, yes. I've done that before.
Yeah, so you can always get them back in the same position.
It's time. It's so loud for a standard car anyway, and now that's just a little bit louder. It sounds good, mate, so far. There's only one way to find out what it actually sounds like, and that's to give it a real drive.
So I call that successful. And people wonder why I think these cars are allowed to start off with. That's not that much louder than it is stock, which blows your mind a bit, doesn't it?
I can't believe how loud it is.
For a modern car that is, yeah. But it does sound louder, and my God, does it sound awesome. It's obviously I can't go absolutely nuts, even though it's a bit spirited for having traction control off having not driven a car in 2 months. But you know, excitement gets us a better review and everything like that. So no, as you can tell, I am super happy with it. It sounds incredible, not too loud, which was super important for me. Mate, as far as I'm concerned, you absolutely nailed it, so can't thank you enough.
I'm happy that you're happy, you know.
No OPF flight on as well so far, so yeah, we'll have to see whether that continues. Had I known that, I obviously would have driven it home, but no, for now it's getting the tow wagon and it'll get even more covered in dirt. But yeah, super chuffed. Everybody check out FabCo. They are the guys behind this, but also suppliers of lots of metal to the exhaust trade, lots of high quality bends and stuff like that. So great company to deal with. Have dealt with them for years, and Adam, as you can tell, he's just one of us. So yeah, thank you very much, mate. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.